Following on from my breakup video, I also asked my social media to send me questions. Whilst a lot of those questions were answered during the breakup video, there were many that kind of remain. What this video is basically is to answer you guys' questions that have not been answered in the breakup video. So I'm just going to go ahead and start. I don't know if it's going to be in a nice chronological kind of order, but here goes nothing. What lesson did you learn? Like, what would you do different for your next relationship, and what would you look for, or what did you miss? To be honest with you, there aren't any new lessons I've learned. There are things I already knew but that I just didn't follow this time around, and they were kind of going with my gut instincts. I was kind of ignoring them based on, you know, the ideal of what I'm supposed to do and what people want me to do, and that's like kind of settle down with, you know, a decent guy. And you know, every time I say like with a decent guy, doesn't mean I don't want a decent guy. It's not difficult to find a man, but to find a man that you are so convinced of as your soulmate, that's difficult. So yeah, so definitely follow my gut instinct. If something doesn't feel right, it probably isn't. And the lesson in that is that way I can act on it early on rather than wait like a couple of months, which is what happened. Do you think you're just happy with you and Ava? Will a man ever complicate things? Of course a man's going to complicate things, because how, like, I'm sure married women know, like, having a man is a bit difficult. You know, that's like one extra person you have to ask for permission, other than yourself. You won't need to ask yourself for permission. Of course it's going to complicate things, but with the complications, it's going to be a lot of good that's going to come in. I enjoy being in a relationship, so it's the wrong question to ask me, because I'm like, no, let's have it. But yeah. Did you pray istikhara? No, I did not pray istikhara. Maybe I should have, but I don't know, because he prayed istikhara and it came out good, so one begs the question of, was it actually working? No, I'm joking. Maybe it was a good thing in the long run, because everything that happens to you, even though it feels like the worst thing in the world, like, you just don't know why God put it in your plan at that moment, because you'll realise, and you will realise, I promise you, like, I've tried and tested this, you'll always realise why something happened to you, but it might not be instant. It might be like in a couple of weeks, maybe in a couple of months, maybe even a couple of years, maybe even 10 years down the line, then you'll realise, like, shit, that is why that thing happened to me, like, to bring me here. So yeah, maybe I should have taken the istikhara, but then again, I didn't really need it, because, you know, istikhara is when you're like, hayrana, how do you say hayrana in English? When you're like, you're not sure, like, I was sure of my feelings, I just wasn't sure how I was going to deal with them, and like, it was just a case of me deciding within myself whether I'm okay to continue this path with these mediocre feelings, or just kind of jump ship early on. And that was something I had to decide for myself, because whatever decision I make, I'm gonna have to stick with it. So I don't want to be going back thinking, God, why didn't you tell me then, man? Why? You ruined my life. No, I'm joking. But yeah. So how did he take it? To be honest with you, like, there are some people that are quite emotional like me. Just like screaming and shouting, blah, blah, blah. Some don't, and to protect themselves, which is fine. I'm not that kind of person. I'm like very, very vocal about my feelings, because once I get them out there, they kind of dissipate. But some people are a bit less vocal, and he was more like less vocal about his feelings about the breakup. Well, I'm not going to say like he was like depressed and like dying. What? Well, he lost me. I should hope he's depressed. No, I'm joking. I hope he's not, obviously. But I'm not saying he's depressed, or sad, or whatever it is. But you could tell when someone's trying to hold back feelings, and that's what I felt like. It felt like he was trying to hold back what actually he was feeling, and trying to act like he was fully okay with the whole thing. You know, which he may be now, but I'm saying at the time it obviously didn't feel like that. I felt like he was just holding back his feelings. What did your parents think of him? My parents thought of course he was a great catch, because he was a, you know, a mature gentleman. So I think for me, being so immature, they were like happy anything was going to ground me. Jokes on you, parents. I'm joking. How did you overcome the sadness of breakup? What did you do to keep your mind off the breakup? I'm going to do a specific video for this, actually, because I've been asked this so many times. I know I was the one that broke up, but I do understand, you know, how to deal with... Look, dealing with a breakup is dealing with a loss. It may not be a loss of a life, but it's a loss of someone. It's a loss of part of your life. So it's pretty much, if you kind of base it on how I dealt with my grief, you can be fine. You can't be fine. End of the day, I've lost my husband, like, from this earth. So there's no man living that's gonna make me that upset that I can't get over it. If I was able to get over a death, I'm able to get over a breakup. That's the way that I see it. I don't even give myself room to kind of like get sad, because I'm like, of course I'm gonna get sad. I'm not emotionless. I'm not that human. But I won't ever let it escalate to a point, because I'm like, no, I got over death of someone who I considered my soulmate, like love of my life. So I'm gonna get over this. What signs did you get that led to breaking things off? I spoke about this in detail in the other video, but in summary, when I felt that I preferred meeting up with and spending time with other people that were already in my life and had been for like years and years and years, that's when I realised, when this is something that's new, I should be favouring this. That's when I realised this is not how it's supposed to be for me anyway. As you're a mother, do you feel like you have to be extremely careful with choosing a husband? Okay, so yes and no. Just bear with me. Just understand what I'm going to say for the whole thing, because it's going to sound a bit weird in the beginning, but you might get it at the end. In the beginning, I don't really think about that, because I'm like, you know what, let me just see if we connect, if we click, me and this guy, we click. Because ultimately, Ava is like the final like say. So if I feel at any point, even if I click with this person, if I feel at any point after that this person's not the right person for Ava, like when it comes to like trying to introduce or something like that, when I feel that, if I feel that that person's not the right person to be around Ava, I will cut it off then. It doesn't matter how I feel. The reason being is I don't want to cloud, like at the end of the day, Ava doesn't know any different. It's not like she had something and she lost it, so to speak, and obviously I'm going to work my utmost hardest to give her, you know, to not make her feel like ever she's missing out on something, which if the case is that I stay single forever alone, in that sense, she is missing out on something, but it's not something that she's had before. It's not a case of I have to get a husband, I have to get a father figure, you know, for Ava, that it doesn't matter if I'm happy with that person or not. It's not that case. So with that, I'm able to kind of be a bit more selective in that that person not only needs to be a great father figure for Ava, or great around Ava, but also someone that I can connect with at the same time. I know I can make her so happy on my own, so I don't need to bring anyone in that equation unless that person is going to be good enough for both of us, if that makes sense. So I don't really, yes I do, it is a bit, I have to be extremely careful, but I kind of just decipher whether or not this person's good for me, and then I move it there, because I'd rather get hurt myself that, you know, that I connect to this person but they're not good enough for Ava, and then kind of I'll cut it there and then, rather than get them around Ava, which has happened sometimes, that you get them around Ava and you kind of feel like, oh my god, they're really good with her, but that person isn't someone I want, and I just don't want to be in that position. And that a lot of the reason why I'll start to kind of consider them early on is because, oh, they're just really good with Ava, you know, I need to consider this, blah, blah, blah. Are you still in contact with him as friends? Well, the thing was, we kind of were, but that swiftly ended after my video. Like, I know, I was surprised. I guess I should have seen it coming, but I don't know. Did he ask you to cut off or minimise social media? No, but he wasn't very supportive of it. He understood that it was heavily linked with my business. So me growing my social media is in turn then growing my business. So he kind of got it, and he's like all for business, etc. But he wasn't very understanding of it. So he didn't quite get why I'd have to snap all the time. He didn't quite get why you have to, you know, do certain things. Like a lot of people say to me, like, oh, you snap so much, you this, you that. Like, you know what? People are following me. It's a lifestyle that they're following. I'm not saying I've got a special lifestyle or anything, because I don't. I've got a very, very, like, crappy one. Very, very unhealthy, crappy. There's no structure. There's no anything in my life. So I'm not, like, boasting and saying, oh, yeah, come follow my lifestyle. It's not that, but it's just very real. It's very me. I mean, I'm going to have days that are shit. I'm going to have days that are good. I'm gonna have days where I'm just lip syncing all day because I'm just feeling really nostalgic. I'm just gonna have days where, you know, I'm eating all day and just snapping my food. And a lot of people are like, oh, well, that doesn't have anything to do with your business. Well, no, it's a lifestyle. When you follow someone, like look, at the end of the day, like how does people, when they get to know you, the more they get to know you, the more they kind of begin to empathize with you, the more they warm to you as a person. That is basically what social media is. That is what YouTube, what vlogging is. It's, you know, that's what it is. Does your daughter ever mention him? Okay, I get asked this a lot, like, oh my god, is she missing him? Oh my god, like, can we all chill? She's like just barely 2 years old. She's just hit, like, she's 2 and a bit, a couple of months. She, like, I don't get this when people say this, because like when he's brought to her, when he's introduced to her, it's in the capacity of a friend. I have male friends, I have female friends. I have male members of my family, I have female members. Like, we've got quite a good mix going on. So what in her mind is telling her that this person was supposed to be your dad and now he's not, and now you've lost him? Like, there's nothing there to make her think that. Did you love him? It's like, I love you, but I'm not in love with you. No, I'm joking. That's like a typical line. It's like, it's not you, it's me. No, I would say I did definitely think I was, you know, it was a new love, because, you know, yes, we were so different, but at the same time, you know, there was a lot of emotion between us, and I kind of put that to the fact that it was love, because it can't be anything else. If you're so different from someone, look, I'm not talking about different in opposite tracks kind of way, it's not that. Different in that you're on different wavelengths. You're not on different pages, you're on different books. That's the kind of different I'm talking about. I'm not talking about, and I don't want to hear people think, oh well, opposites attract, and now my husband's opposite me and we work fine. No. You can be different but the same at the same time. You know, you're in agreement on the important, you know, decisions and like kind of things in your life. I think I kind of thought it was love, and I don't think it was. I think it was just me. I enjoy it. Like, this is not a nice thing to say, but I love being in relationships. So I love being loved. What girl doesn't? So I love being loved. Like, there are certain gestures of love that I could be shown that would make me consider someone who I would not normally consider if they loved me enough. I don't know, maybe it's insecurity, daddy issues, I don't know what it is. But I just love who loves me. I'm joking. So, but obviously that's the beginning, and then after that you kind of start to think, is this person right for me? That's kind of what happened with this guy. Like, he was loving me, he was making me feel loved, and I was enjoying that feeling, and henceforth I was feeling like I did love him. But then when it got to the nitty gritty of like deciding of what kind of people we are, and like, you know, how we want to live our life, etc., that's when that kind of a love starts to come down a bit, and you kind of focus on, actually, do you love this person? And when it got to that, I think the answer would have been no, because like I said in my last video, you know, with the move, having to move abroad with him, I was very, very like reluctant to do that. Like, almost not just reluctant, was not going to do it. At which point I was like, no, I'm not going to do this. But with my late husband, literally, he said to me, let's move to, I don't know what, I'm trying to think of like a developing country right now. Baghdad, but it's not even developing anymore, but I've never been to Iraq, so let's just say Baghdad. I would say, yeah, no, let's go and be fun. Bombs over Baghdad. Like, and the feeling wasn't the same, obviously, in the situation. Why did you easily let him go? Relationships are not meant to be easy. Okay, there's a difference between letting something go easily and letting something go because it's not the right thing for you. Look, with every marriage, and I know because I've been married twice, with every marriage there are problems that will come out from under the ground. Problems you will never ever ever think could ever like arise. They will arise during marriage. So the bare minimum you need to be is on the same wavelength as this person, so that when these problems arise, you can kind of attack them with the same thought process. That way you get through the problem and you overcome it. You always hear like stories about relationships of like people are together and like, oh, like his jokes are so funny, oh my god, he's so funny, he's so hilarious, and then like 5 years in it's like, oh my god, everything's a joke to you, but everything becomes a problem at that point. So you don't want real problems starting like going in. You wanna minimize, like have the least number of problems going in, because like I said, everything is going to be ahead when you have marriage. I'm not deterring people from marriage. Marriage is the greatest thing ever created. It's amazing. Amazing. But you need to go in mindful, so you need to know exactly what you're letting yourself into. And going in when you have so many problems is it's almost a recipe for disaster, i.e. divorce, or it's a recipe, I can't even say the word recipe, or it's a recipe for unhappiness, which neither of these things is what you should be aiming for. So no, I didn't let go of him easily. I spent a month, the last month, this was before my birthday, last month when I was eating at me, I was just trying to somehow reason it and make it work in my mind. But it just got to that point where I was like, these are real issues. They might not be real issues now. I can like let something pass here, but you shouldn't be letting things pass in the honeymoon period. Because like I said, when you get married, problems, there's an Arabic saying, which is problems will come out from under the floor. Like problems that you thought the ground was flat, wrong. Like problems will come out like weed everywhere. Even weed grass everywhere. Literally, problems will come out. And you need to be at one, you need to be unagi with your partner. Attack these problems and get through them. With no casualties. That's the dream. How long were you together? We started dating end of September, and I believe unofficially it was around my birthday, which was 12th December, when I kind of in my mind ended things, but officially we had the talk 10 days later, which was 22nd December, so kind of just under 3 months. What made you choose him out of all the options you had? What options, please? Can someone tell me where these options are? Have you options to stop hiding and show yourselves? Especially because it's leading up to Valentine's Day, like anytime, like anyone who wants to like declare that undying love for me, like should do it now. I don't have options. Look, there are people, you got like 10 DMs a day from like random guys. They're not options, okay? An option is someone who you deem fit to be your husband, to be a possible father figure for Ava. That's an option. And then obviously you get to know that option, and whether that option is the right option for you or not, then that's when you decide later on. But in terms of options, I don't have that many options, because I'm not going to consider any random Tom, Dick or Harry an option if they don't meet the set requirements needed. But yeah, okay. Did you find it easy or hard to break things off with them? I found it very, very hard, extremely hard. And the only reason I was able to do it as a phone call at the very, very end was because it was a whole month of me. I swear to God, that month, like, I might have seemed like a bitch, like with the way that I broke things off, or like, oh, just because I'm not like feeling whatever. But actually, I would not obviously talk about this, but the month before I reached this kind of conclusion, I was literally living in turmoil. Like every single day I felt so stressed. Like I want to say I was so stressed I stopped eating, but nothing stopped me. Like I just want one thing. Sorry. The only thing that did ever stop me eating was the death of my husband. But I'm not looking for something like that again to stop me eating. Like I'm just like, just one thing, just one sad thing that happens to me, I just want to stop eating. but I don't. No, but I was very, very sad during that time for a whole month. I was a bit in turmoil. Like, look, I know when I'm sad. I know the symptoms of when I'm sad. It's not just I'm sad. It's when I'm able to cry on cue just by thinking about my life. That's when I would say, clinically depressed. And I was having that for a whole month. Just thinking about just the burden and that this other person's like feelings are invested in, like, and how like I was feeling, whether I could get through it, like all that just gave me so much stress, and just thinking about it gave me anxiety, and just wanted to run away from the whole thing. Thinking about the whole thing. And so yeah, it was very, very difficult, but in the end I was like, I have to like just pull the band-aid off, and that's what I did with that phone call. How did your parents react? They weren't very happy, because they saw this stable, mature man enter my life, and he was like wanting to get married to me, and they saw me kind of like throw it away almost in their eyes. But I think, the difference between our generation and their generation, obviously marriage is important. Marriage is important for everybody. Like, it's important for me. I love being married. But not at the cost of my happiness. So I would not, as much as they want to understand that, they didn't. Although I saw from my mum, like because she's seen how I was with Mo, my late husband, like she saw the dynamics between our relationship. Like she used to love it when Mo comes over. Like I felt that, like she'd want him always to come over. You know, I didn't get that kind of a reaction this time round from her. And I think she was a bit less vocal about her disapproval because she saw how, you know, me and Mo were together and how I was with this person. So, and she knew, like, that isn't happy than like, that isn't, like, excited than that isn't. And to some extent, you know, parents do want your happiness. So I think she was less vocal about it. My dad didn't spend as much time with both of us, so he kind of was just going on logic and, you know, this person's a good person with a good head on his shoulders and blah blah. So, you know, on the let's just say not really happy. Did you fall in love 100% and forget? No, did you fall in love 100% as in forget Mo? No. That will never ever happen. Like, I don't know why I get asked that. Like, oh, you're over Mo. I'm not. Look, I know people aren't going to really understand this, but Mo, I'm not going to ever stop loving Mo. Even if I was like heartless and I forgot about Mo, I couldn't forget about Mo because I have his child. He is the father of my daughter. So that's not going to happen. Forgetting Mo, not going to happen. You know, my love for Mo is to some extent eternal because during that period that he was alive in this life with me, it was eternal. How do I explain this? It's eternal for that period. So I remember it as eternal. That's not to say I might not get married to someone else and that person will then also be the love of my new life. That makes sense. I don't know. I'm like those memes right now. Every single week is your world. You've got a new my world this, my world that. Like, are you building a whole solar system? I think that's what the meme is. That's me right now. It's not like that. Look, I believe you can have more than one soulmate. People might not agree with this, but I believe you can have more than one soulmate at different phases of your life. And that's what I've had. You know, I had that in my first husband. He was my childhood sweetheart and he was my soulmate for that phase of my life. I had that in Mo because I connected with him at a level I've never ever connected with anybody in such a short period of time, and he was my everything in such a short period of time. So he was my soulmate then. I don't yet have a soulmate anymore. I'm currently soulmate-less. So yeah, I'm not saying it will never happen, but you don't forget, like, that there'll always be a part of me that loves him. You know, that can't change. Do you believe in having more than one soulmate? The idea that there is more than one person that is meant for you. I do 100% believe this. You yourself, you're not the same person throughout your life. You will go through so many different phases. Like, there are certain things in one phase that's important to you, whereas they're not going to be important to you in other phases. You know, you're going to be around a certain, you know, lifestyle one phase of your life, and technically we've got like multiple personalities, and we're always gonna, you know, for each phase of our life that you have, you're a different person. You're gonna have, and you could possibly have a soulmate for that person. But of course it's different if you're with someone from early on and you kind of grow together, because then you grow together, so any new personality you get is kind of like fitting always with that person that you're already with. What would you advise future Thana? Not give a shit what anyone thinks. Like, don't just try and do the right thing that people think is the right thing. Do what's right for you. Look, people aren't ever going to be happy. People aren't going to understand that, you know, you actually still want to enjoy your life. And like, look, religion is important, but religion doesn't teach us to be miserable. You know, religion is a happy thing, and I just hate people that kind of portray it and relate it in this, like, relate to be this, like, you have to be friggin' miserable and happy. You have to, like, no. Religion is a way of life, and you need to use it to better your life and be happy. So yeah, I can, like, for me, my gut instinct was this person wasn't the right person for me, but I just thought about what people would think, like, oh my god, she's with this person, and, you know, and especially me, I'm divorced and widowed, and I have a child. The fact that I would be with someone who was unmarried and, like, actually a good catch, I mean, I just thought people would think, oh wow, like, I kind of, like, lost sight of what was important for a while. And just caring about what people thought, and that was my mistake that I made. So what I would tell my future self is, don't really think about what anyone thinks. Don't spend your time trying to make people think you're better. Just focus that time on bettering yourself, rather. Any regrets that I let it go on for that long? I should have just trusted my instinct. So, how did it feel to make the move that, okay, now it's time to move on with someone else after what happened with Mo? Were you fully ready? I would say 100% I was fully ready. I mean, it's been over 2 years. It was 2.5, verging on 3 years after Mo passed away. And, you know, there comes a time, like, especially if you're me, you're just kind of like, you love being in relationships, you love to be loved. There will be a time when something comes and that's missing. And I guess that's when I realised that I could possibly, like, have feelings for other people. I think when I realised I could find other people attractive again, I think when that point happened, I was like, if I can find them attractive, I could potentially love them. So that's probably when I was ready. Are you going to try and find someone else? No. I am not going to try and find anybody else. Like always with relationships, if you look for it, the wrong thing will come. When you look for it, your standard, I said this in the last video, your standards are dropped. When your standards are dropped, you attract a low standard kind of guy. I'm not saying this guy was a low standard kind of guy, but as in it's low quality for you. Not, look, I'm saying it in the really wrong way. I'm not saying that. Like, imagine your fit with your soulmate is perfect, okay? Perfect. What I mean by low quality is the fit won't be as perfect. That's what I mean. But also, some people will also attract low quality people, like fuckboys. So yeah, definitely don't look for relationships. If it comes, it comes. You know, if it comes to you, it comes to you. Otherwise, God isn't wanting it for you at this point, so don't go looking for it. Don't force it. If God's like to you, it's not your time to have this guy or to be with someone, then don't go against the grain and go against what God's planning for you. Did you constantly compare him to your late husband? Look, not really. For me, the only time I would compare anyone to my late husband is when things are going shit. And that's when I get upset. Because I'm like, I would not be going through this shit if, you know, if my husband was here. Or I would not, like, I wouldn't have to put up with this if I was with Mo now, if Mo was still here. So that's the kind of comparison that's made. But not like, oh, he eats like this and Mo ate like this, or Mo took me here and he doesn't take me here. Like, it's not like that. You know, every relationship is different. You can't compare them. What made you decide he was a potential? I decided he was a potential when he was very, very serious and forthcoming with me. You know, he was ready to take the plunge, like, just on my word. So literally there were times where I'd be like, you know, what's your time scale like? He literally said to me, if you want to go and get married tomorrow, I'll book with the sheikh. It was like a Friday, I remember saying. He was like to me, I can book with the sheikh on Monday if that's what you want. When I saw that kind of seriousness about him, and this is for the nikah, by the way, that's when I saw that kind of seriousness about him, my heart rested easy, and I was like, you know what, this is a potential. Now it's just a case of getting to know him and seeing if we're actually, you know, right for each other. Do you think he misses you? I freaking hope he misses me. What's not to miss? Jokes, I'm joking. I don't know, maybe he missed me up until he saw that video. Now he doesn't miss me anymore, he just hates me. Maybe, I don't know. Do you feel as though there is no such thing as the perfect guy for you? I feel that there is no such thing as the perfect guy, but I do not feel there isn't such a thing as a perfect guy for you. There's always the perfect guy for you, but he just might not be perfect for someone else. So 100% there will be the guy that's perfect for you. That's what God intended. Is there anything you would have done differently with getting to know this guy? I think not rush into labelling what we had, which was dating, as a relationship that quickly. It was literally, I think I told you guys, like, after a couple of days. But that's just me. Like, I just kind of rush it because I'm like, look, marriage, no marriage, marriage, no marriage, marriage, no marriage. Like, literally, like, for them here, like, literally, like, fine, marriage, or no marriage. So I kind of pushed them to that, and once I pushed them with all my questioning and like when, what, when, how, when, like marriage, when, mother, parents, like I always throw this kind of stuff at guys, and just to kind of sense how serious they are, you know. And in doing that, what you kind of do is you kind of fast forward, you know, the stages of the relationship, because they're like, well, she's talking about marriage, I guess we could say things are getting pretty serious. When for me it's just purely to check, you know, where the guy's head is at. Is this guy serious? Is this not? Because I'm not going to waste my time. Is explain the difference between engagement and wedding in Arab culture. Okay, a lot of people were confused about this. Okay, so in Arabic culture, we have a thing called a sharbet. Sharbet is when, you know, the parents like kind of go over to the girl's house and they're like, we want your daughter for our son, and sometimes there's a sheikh there. So they come, like they drink juice to kind of signify the agreement between them. That's called a sharbet. That's almost like the pre-engagement. So it's, people know about it. Like this guy is for this girl. They're just getting to know each other at the moment. But that's kind of like the bare minimum kind of thing that you do. After that comes the nikah, which we call aqd, and that is effectively Islamic marriage. Although it's Islamic marriage, it's seen as an engagement for us, Arabs, whatever. Obviously you get the small minority that they just marry straight off at that point, but most of us will have that as an engagement, as the real engagement, or the more serious engagement, so to speak. And after that is the actual wedding reception, which has no Islamic value to it, but it's just to say these guys are now husband and wife, and although they were like a year ago, but they're now husband and wife, and now they're going to move in together, and they're going to go on a honeymoon, and they're going to get jiggy, or not, or maybe they already did because they were Islamically married, who knows. And I was at the very, very basic minimum stage. I didn't get to nikah. I got a lot of kind of negative comments about that, like, oh, like how are you like promoting dating and stuff like that. Like, do you know what, like, you're a loser either way, because if I was getting to know him, you know, without the nikah, I would be labelled a xh11jab, because of, you know, I'm dating, you know, and there's nothing that, even though my parents know, his parents know, like whatever. If I, on the other hand, I did do the nikah with him and got to know him more, and I realised, you know what, I don't see his person as for me, I would have then had to get a divorce, a proper divorce, because nikah is Islamic marriage. And then at the end of it, I'd still be labelled a hoe, because now I'm a divorcee, and generally people, that's how people view divorcee. You shouldn't. They'll punch them in the throat, but they do, whether you like it, whether you don't like it. Let's be real, why do they? Because they're like, okay, well, she's not a virgin anymore, therefore it's easy for her. Do you know, it's so messed up. Because someone's not a virgin, apparently their legs are going to be open now 24/7 with no breaks. Therefore, because, I don't know, some people have such dirty minds, they can't control themselves. They assume every single woman in the world, once she's been technically, so to speak, open, that's it, she can't close anymore. Once you pop, you can't stop. No, you can stop. Honestly, but you're not gonna win either way. So the best thing to do is just do what your heart tells you to do, and just kind of, and that's me, what I do is I kind of like, I direct every single possible question under the sun early on. Anything that would make a non-serious guy run away, I will throw at this guy, at a guy that I'm getting to know, just to kind of see. That's how you separate the serious guys from the not so serious guys. And I think that's kind of enough for me to ascertain whether someone's not serious. And okay, someone asked me, how did you explain things to your daughter after the breakup? It may help your followers who are in the same situation. Okay, so like I said before, I would not need to explain anything to my daughter, because what I would say to people who are in the same position, so any other single mother who has a daughter or son of an understanding age, always introduce them as a friend, as a mum's friend or whatever it is. The reason being is, like, it's not like if your kid's friend zone him, he can't be a husband anymore. Like, eventually when the time comes that you want him to be the father figure, if the father figure's not involved, obviously in my case, which is not, that transition isn't going to be that difficult, like as it would say to us. If we've already friend zoned him, then he can't be a husband anymore. So bad. You know, it's not the same when it comes to children. So it'd be easy kind of when you're fully sure to make that transition into like, for this person who's been mummy's friend this whole time for this last year or whatever it is, however long, 6 months, a year, is now mummy's husband, and like, you know, baby's like daddy number 2 in my case, or I don't know, like they're just like the semantics of it I haven't really kind of properly thought about. But all I know is up to the point, because I've never passed this point, is that this person is mummy's friend. That's it. And finally, did you sleep with him? Oh, love my followers and your questions, you guys are amazing. Okay, so I'm gonna say this to you. No, I didn't, obviously, but you guys need to know, even if I did, I would not say it. Like, what's a stupid question? Okay, so that's my answer. I didn't. But even if I did, I wouldn't say. It's just like such a dumb question. I mean, there's everything that I'm going to be honest about. That's the one thing I wouldn't, because like, that's like your reputation. But I just think the most important thing is to not do haram. That is what you should be focusing on. Not do haram. So, oh, I'm just too honest for my own good. Honestly, I'm going to be labelled 1,000,001 things after this, I know. That's going to add to my divorcee status. Divorcee, widoway, single mother, and now hoe. Whatever, man. Seriously, at the end of the day, just don't do haram. That's it. There are so many girls that have so many male friends, and they'll like, or they get to know different guys or whatever, and they're not doing anything wrong. Like, they're actually just genuinely getting to know people as friends or whatever, with the potential for more, but just not doing anything wrong, not doing any haram. Those girls are going to be labelled as hoes in our community, always. And then you've got the other side, which is girls that appear to have not one, like they barely know how to talk to males, because they just had no male contact apparently. Like the only male contact they have is their dad or their brother. Like, not even their uncle or cousin, like, it's that deep. And they walk around with abayas and like, you know, makeup, very minimal makeup, but under the abaya is a different story. Under abaya, my girl's got like 7 guys under her armpit. Thought I was a hoe, but I'm not. Don't judge a book by its cover. Sorry, I'm just babbling on now. Okay, I'm gonna go. Bye.